Battery Materials, the name is a bit of a misnomer because we have recently pivoted down to manufacturing high performance batteries for drones, robotics, or any type of battery powered application. We make these batteries run longer, charge faster, and also be cheaper. And we all enable this through our technology innovation and engineering expertise. And where Neo Battery is currently seeing the most momentum is especially within the drone sector. Right now, within the United States, there's a new act called the National Defense Authorization Act. And for fiscal year 2026, they will start banning the Chinese batteries starting January 2028. But it's not just the US, but also, Ukraine wants to get off of the weakness in the drone component supply chain, which is batteries outside of China. And also Korea, Japan, Singapore, India, all of these countries are trying to get out of the Chinese supply chain for batteries. And the main reason why China has been mentioned, especially within this drone sector, is that almost 98% of drone batteries, and even pushing to 100% for some drone types, they are all being manufactured in China today. So because of this macro sentiment or of this regulatory push towards trying to get batteries outside of China, there has been great demand for battery manufacturing companies outside of China. But unfortunately, just because there hasn't been any type of battery manufacturing companies that have been focused on manufacturing high performance batteries for the drone application, that's where we've been seeing the most demand, because right now most battery companies outside of China, they're focused more onto still electric vehicles or energy storage for, let's say, AI data centers. But there hasn't been too much focus on developing batteries for this type of high performance drone segment. So this is one of the biggest demand source that we've been seeing within the company, just because of the reallocation of supply chains. And moreover, drone manufacturers themselves are looking for higher performance solutions for lithium-ion batteries, because right now, lithium-ion batteries, we hear about semiconductors, NVIDIA's GPUs, or Apple's M3 chips every 6 months, every 1 year. But battery technology, it evolves at a much slower pace, 3, 5, 7 years. So the batteries that are being deployed in today's smartphones or laptops that you currently have, they're from technologies about 5 to 7 years ago. And drones, the story is almost similar. So this is why Neo Battery, we're providing an optimized solution for the drone so that it can run at its full performance potential. And this is where we are having our forte in terms of the company, fulfilling these orders and providing a non-Chinese based solution of drone battery manufacturing. But it's not just the drone sector, but robotics. Now they call it physical AI, any type of hardware or electronics that implements autonomous solutions. This is the forte that the company currently has for hyper customizing the battery so that the systems can run at their full performance potential. So that's where we're seeing the most momentum for the company at this moment. I did briefly talk about the supply chain, where we are currently manufacturing all of our batteries in South Korea at this moment. And, it's close, but it's a completely different country being allied with Western partners. But we think that supply isn't enough. So where we differentiate is actually on the performance. Right now, when we talk about drone batteries themselves that are coming from China, usually there's spec sheets that come with the batteries. And usually the specs do not actually perform as what is written down within those informational sheets. Right now, the biggest problem with these types of batteries is that it doesn't last as much as it would like to. And batteries should not overheat, because if it overheats to a certain extent, we call it thermal runaway, where the inside protection barrier rips apart, and then the battery, it catches on flame and then eventually explodes. And right now, we've seen a lot of quality issues that are coming from China too. So performance, quality, supply, this is where Neo Battery kicks in with our 3-in-1 solution to resolve all of these 3 major components within the battery. First of all, with the performance, what we've been able to specifically do is what we've done for specific drone manufacturers is that using the same battery size, dimensions, format, and weight, what we've done is we've packed more energy punch into the battery. So given the same battery size, we've been able to increase energy capacity by 55% for our surveillance and reconnaissance drones, but also for other types of strike drones, training drones. We've been able to dramatically increase the energy capacity of the overall battery so that the battery runs longer and also can shoot out much more faster compared to other batteries within the field today. So performance improvements has been one of the biggest game changers for the battery so far, but also quality manufacturing. Because the company's engineers come from the largest battery manufacturers in the world, like LG Energy Solution and Samsung SDI, we were able to manufacture the batteries with great quality. So we've been able to figure out the thermal increase problem that happens with the Chinese batteries, but also when you see the batteries operating within the drones, usually the batteries just stay flat, but we see the batteries actually increase in volume and size. So what we've done with quality manufacturing is essentially get rid of the swelling issue as well as this temperature rise so that the battery is actually safe and it actually protects the drone from any type of damages that might happen on the battlefield or when this drone is in surveillance. So protecting the asset is one of the biggest value propositions that we've implemented within our batteries. And overall, providing a secure supply chain is how we differentiate and how we enable actual defense contractors or drone manufacturers to supply into governments that require rigorous standards for not using any type of Chinese supply chains or what they call it foreign entities of concern. So we remove the risk of any type of foreign entities of concern within the supply chain for manufacturing these types of batteries. There's quite a lot of key priorities for the year ahead. But one thing I like to mention is that Neo Battery has moved from an R&D company into an actual revenue generating company. So as all companies go, they would like to build out a robust, repeatable sales pipeline. So that is what we are currently doing. In South Korea, we are mainly targeting the Korean market because, as I said, most of the drone batteries that are being used in South Korea is almost all made from China. And there is just this low-hanging fruit where if we deploy our drone battery solutions in Korea, we would be able to eat a lot of the market share over there. So we've already seen a lot of good performance results and validation from drone manufacturers that we are currently working with in South Korea. And what we're also doing as another distribution strategy is heavily targeting the Korean Army, Navy, and Air Force. And the Korean Army is one of the central government hubs or the military hubs that do use drones within operations to protect the demilitarized zone or the border with North Korea, as well as different forms of command. So we've been able to partner with the highest levels of commands and divisions within the South Korean Army to start deploying our drone battery products as soon as possible. And because there has been this surmounting demand from not only just Korean manufacturers, but Japanese, US-based manufacturers, and even with Canada, with the new defense industrial strategy, we're trying to visibly expand the capacity of our battery manufacturing operations with our second expansion facility. That facility will be able to produce around 4 to 6 million battery cells per year. And right now within the market, each battery cell is being sold for about 20 to 50 USD. So once that ramp up in the battery expansion facility happens, then we can start rapidly deploying our products in any type of drone applications. So just to summarize, one is to build that repeatable sales pipeline with drone manufacturers, not just in Korea, but also US and NATO countries. And second is to provide that visible capacity expansion of our expansion facility, because that's when we can start really mass producing. We already produce some drone batteries within the first factory that we already have, but the second factory would provide that game changer in terms of the volume that we produce in terms of those batteries. So those are the two main key points or catalysts that everybody should be looking out for.